on that, because like I said before, we are also limited by our board. We must be careful of what we say on social media, because you can lose your job because of it. You understand? Yeah. So maybe other people, they are just so scared. Other nurses that are so scared to say anything to educate the society, of which I was one of them. It takes a huge
Courage. Yeah.
to come here and talk about these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have more questions on that?
No, you can carry on. But I sort of missed this point, but it's fine. I can.
No, can I tell you what she said?
Okay.
Like shortly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the bodies that are within the space that would restrict you from talking about those things. Just like at school, you know what you're supposed to be learning about, but you don't learn about it because of however because of
The
for some reasons of
tape,
policies were
policies, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what she was saying basically. Do you have a follow-up question?
What are they hiding or gaining by hiding this information?
It's not about hiding. It's more like you saying something wrong to the public, then they take that as what it is.
They misinterpret you.
Yeah.
That's why consultations are very important.
You cannot
because
just go to
umbrella.
Google and think you have cancer, because the first time you go to Google and say, I've been having a headache for 5 days, they say you have brain cancer. You understand? So it's such things like that. You understand?
Okay.
And the babies, they don't have lasers. We don't do lasers. We do a sauna. It's harmless to the baby. Yes, just to see how is the baby and to check the gender of the baby. And the heart, we listen to the heart with the sauna.
And come with that picture.
We do come with that picture.
That means
there's no harm.
I don't have experience.
Yeah, there's no harm to the baby or mother. Yeah.
So I want to ask, like, how can we mothers overcome this PBD, quicker than it's worth, the time? Because sometimes I would feel like they are dragging it to a point where they even forget that they are mother. Because you mentioned something that you see them not wanting to spend more time or it's not because they don't like the child, but sometimes it's because of this depression which you're talking about. But I'm just trying to think, how can we maybe give them an advice, or what do you think they can do to get rid over it quicker, and not to end up forming part of their second nature or identity? Because I think as well, Makaveli, you'll tell me if you've come across this observation. I think with this kind of depression, it also brings like the sense of unworthiness to a woman, the PBD, to a point where if I approach someone with a child, the chances of having them over as my girlfriend or my partner, they are too easy than if I approach someone who doesn't have a child. I'll make an example. If you are Tembi and you don't have a child, if I approach you, I tell you how much I love you, you'll probably want to interrogate and break the whole thing to see how true it is. But if I approach someone with a child, they sort of feel like, what do you love about me? That's interesting. Oh, someone is loving me. So they are too quick to say yes because of this sense of unworthiness that comes with this depression. So it doesn't only affect the relationship between them and the child, but it also affects their social life. You know what I mean? Yeah.
To answer you, it's not about getting out of it quickly. It's more like what other people, like the support structure, can do for them. Because most of these people, they fall into this postpartum depression because they feel isolated. Unfortunately, we are in this era in our life whereby, like, we are staying in our own space, like it's me and my husband, my kids. Whereas in olden days, I feel like the old people, they mastered the nature of postpartum depression, even though they didn't know about it. Let me tell you why.
Tell me.
in olden days, bekuthiwa ngesizulu umdlezana, a newborn mother. She didn't do anything besides just breastfeeding this baby. Ne? You're not allowed to go outside. You just wake up in the morning, you bath, you sit eltrasing. Ne? Like when someone died, we are coming from black background.
Mourning,
Ne?
yeah.
Mourning someone, they
Mm.
sit eltras.
Mm.
So umdlezana, where I come from, sits there, and there is these ladies like Mama Bendao. They will come, bring you umdokwe. There's someone just making sure that you are eating because we are breastfeeding. Someone is busy making coffee. My grandmother was a fan of a rooibos tea. I still love rooibos tea today. I wish she was there when I had babies. I think it's also one thing that was just like, I wish my grandmother was here. So so the woman was supported in so many levels. I think I spoke to Sutu people, they also say the same thing. Umdlezana used to stay indoors for 2 months.
Sitwetsi, I think.
Yes, sitwetsi. Yes, indoors. Someone is washing the nappies. We didn't have Pampers at the time. Someone is busy washing the nappies for the baby. And you just sit there and it helped a lot. Of which something that, of which like I think the leading cause of postpartum depression being so prominent in our society right now is that there's no such things. Everyone, your friend comes like, yo, can I see the baby? And she's gone.
Yeah.
Then we are left with the baby again. You understand? So coming to that, I think,
the support.
I don't want to say something, but we're looking for a group whereby like the midwives can be how can the midwives can be so supportive to these new mothers? You understand? Whether we come there and we clean the house, we take the baby, we bath the baby. You understand? And we go home. At least for an hour. As a new mother, you just need an hour.
Sure.
Just to decompress.
And I agree with you to a certain to a certain extent. I think also it's not only friends, even the partners that we have. So I was watching The Polygamist. Have you watched it?
I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna be so angry with my husband. Thank you.
Thank you, my.
Uzawuthola izono angahlangene nazo.
Right. Iphelele pha kwi-social.
Ngiyayizwa nje i-hype yakhona. So
does not let some things into your house.
Yeah. I love that. It's a good principle in the house. Now I'm bringing it into the table. I feel so bad for that, but I'm gonna bring it anyway. So what we see on the on that series, The Polygamist, we see a narcissist at its core, right?
Yeah.
So I'm mentioning this because I want to go to for those who watched it, the scene, the Matipe scene after Matipe has just given birth. I think that was 3 days but it was too quick. And he went. Ujonas went to Matipe asking for sex. Understand? And I think also it's such things. And the lady was like, Joe, I've just given birth. Like, what do you think?
Yes.
And I was like, we can just go oral, So I'm thinking, and I'm bringing this situation to say, there are partners as well that who wouldn't understand. Like they are not sympathetic or empathetic to this situation to a point where it would end up affecting you even more.
Yeah. It's not helping. It's not helping. Your partner understanding what's going to happen. Remember now you've been pregnant for 9 months. You are tired already. Then you're still going to start the postpartum after you're just starting to nurse the baby, of which is more demanding than being pregnant. You understand? So having understanding partners is very important. And listening to doctors' orders. That's why we encourage the fathers to be there when the child is born, so that you can see what this woman is going through. You understand? But if you didn't even go for a birth, you don't understand. If you are being not there with this woman, we can't even sleep at night. At 9 months pregnant, you're only allowed to sleep on your left side. You understand? Because you sleep on your back, you are pressing on the aorta. Aorta is the biggest vein that is supply the blood to the brain, to you and the baby. So you lying up or on your back, you are just compressing the baby. It just goes straight to that vein and sleep like this, and it can cut the blood supply to the mother and the baby. The baby would die.
Yeah.
You understand? So the partners, we're about to, in Hope Clinic, we're about to start the antenatal class where we can teach all these things to the expecting parents.
I'm sorry to ask this question, and for those who are going to find it very offensive, do you think we pay much respect to women for the job that they do on earth? Because what you just explained to me sounds like
It's between life and death.
That's what I think as well.
Yes. I don't think, I think the people that been there, I haven't experienced many, I only had my husband, my kids with my husband. People that saw the whole process from beginning to end. Before you find out that you are pregnant, you are already vomiting. You can't keep anything down. They see that. They see my wife is suffering. And my husband is like one of the people that wants to fix everything. Even if I just want to vent, he wants to fix it. You understand? So now he's seeing this woman that he loves going through the vomiting every time she's trying to eat. Nothing stays like he feels helpless. So it becomes more sensitive because he can see me at night awake and he asks me, "Baby, why are you not sleeping?" I can't sleep. You understand? Sometimes when it's hot, your temperature becomes times 2. Like if you are pregnant during summer, you don't want to be pregnant during summer. December, January, I get feel.
Because overheating.
You are overheating times 2. When you're telling other people to say, you know what, it's so hot outside. Yeah, you sleep with your windows open. Tina, our temperature goes 2 times than you are feeling. You understand? So I feel like if your partner is there throughout the pregnancy and the birth, and they become more empathetic, because they can see how much suffering you are going through. And if you have a woman that's going to give birth naturally, you can see that head crowning and say, "Leo, this woman did that."
Yeah.
So they become more supportive. But it's not easy for both partners. It's not easy. Postpartum is not easy for both partners.
Yeah.
Stay at home and be a housewife, and men out there should work hard so that the woman should take an extended leave at work. I fully understand what you're saying, my sister, because besides the physical changes, there's also psychological changes and traumas, and being surrounded by people with experience also helps a lot. That's why in some cultures, actually all Black cultures, when a wife receives a new baby, they go home to their mother's place and get that proper care. Yeah. Gwibo. Indoda isale to care impela for 6 months.
I think that helps a lot. It helps a lot because then you are at home happy. Like we are perfectionists, some of us. We want to keep the house clean. You don't want your husband to come home. There's no food. So, so you also want to be this good wife and be a mother. But you are crasher, man. So
yeah. Which is one of the things again which is underrated about families. Yeah, big families. Why Africans had huge families? So and kuthiwe kwaDlamini la indlu enkulu umfazi omncane, umfazi omkhulu.
There was a lot of support
structures through everyone, the stages and phases of life. When you're a young boy, you play with other boys, his siblings.
There was nice.
Manje bayimoshile abasayifuni polygamist.
Hayi, bengingakhulumi
Sinike
the reason I'm provide is you are not providing. Niyabalambisa. Yeah. So again, to the young ones who likes to do izinto zabantu abadala, these are the some of the results that comes with having a child. Imagine we are doing a teenage pregnancy. We are 18 years old. We have a
You're
child
going
Yeah,
through
with
you
a
don't even have
child
that partner
who's
supporting
19.
part,
Yeah. And then when it comes to guys, I know look for Ramashita.
Mm.
He post
it doesn't have
paternal
shame. Yeah, I
depression.
think we should do more research on that actually, because they are being left out. To
and
be
again,
honest,
some of them, when the girlfriend says, "Hey, I'm pregnant," the guys, it's a shock. They run away. No,
lies.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then 5 years later, they come back.
Yeah,
Hey,
baby.
my child, where's my
Mntanami.
son? Umntanamu. Yeah.
Akubulala.
Okanye- yeah. Oh, we must have that discussion as men.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think we have to research it on our own, Makaveli, and
The
bring
thing-
it here.
Yeah, the thing is like the way the man is being raised in our Black society is also it must be revised. You mean, like you know how bad the suicide between the woman and the man. The man akadlali. It goes straight to it. Like it's so fatal. Like
The statistics, the numbers are
yeah.
high on men committing
on men,
suicide.
but
than,
there's
women.
actually
real?
there's
Yeah.
lot of attempts by women that are
Oh,
not successful.
Okay,
Because
I
we
hear you.
tend to drink some tablets and whatnot, something less
harmful.
You understand?
Extreme.
And you panic again, then you call like, yeah, please. Then ambulance come and take you, then we come, we'll rush you in hospital, we take out those tablets and whatnot, then you are alive. But men, they hang themselves. And it's gone, it's done. And it's so precise. The last friend that I had, it was bad. He made so sure that his partner he left the house. Then he took the baby next door. And he made sure that it's going to be 8 hours alone. And he was found hanging. He was cold. Cold.
Yeah.
So that's how severe depression and suicide it can be.
And if you're one of the individuals that actually are thinking about suicide, I'm telling you, there's a better way. And I know it's hard to believe because people that are suicidal, they said, they say they have no hope that a better future exists. Yeah. So I think one of the things that you can do, you can switch environments. That helps a lot. And you can or maybe you can just go to someone that you don't know, talk about these situations. Maybe they can tell you better. I know Makaveli works that for you. Not that we're suicidal. But if you are, this is a safe space, all right?
Ever since I told him that now I like driving. When I'm driving like long distances, I would give people like a lift on the road. Maybe I'm driving from here to East London by myself. I know it's not safe sometimes, but I would give someone a lift and then we'd talk.
When we talk about it.
And not asking them their name or where they're from. We would just talk
Vent.
and vent. And that helps a lot. Talking to a stranger. And they don't judge you because they don't know
They don't know
You don't
you.
judge them
Yes,
either.
yes.
Yeah. So the power of conversating.
And the other thing is gym. Had some time to spend in the gym, punching that you see that thing. Punching something.
Take out the
back.
frustration.
Yeah,
Punching back.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
What are you saying? Hey, you see, we have a lot to say.
Yeah,
There's a lot. Thank you for
I
coming.
can see that.
Makaveli speak. Is this a safe space?
I was gonna say that's why. There's a saying, it's a myth out there. Depression is for rich people. Because when you are poor, you don't have the time to overthink things. How are you going to think about lacking when you have to travel 2 hours to school and 2 hours from school. Exactly. Exactly. That's why.
And there's a part of the gym. You going there, you are gym available.
On your way there, you are thinking about homework. So your mind is thinking, is proactive and focusing on positive things. On your way back, you are thinking again, Mele, I have to go fetch water in the
river.
I have to boil that water and cook supper. You see, iron and what. So when you keep yourself busy, you don't have time to feel pity for yourself. And
I would be interested as well to know, like, where you guys said, like the statistics says many men like successfully commit suicide.
Yes,
I'd like to know as well if maybe one time we get a chance, we're gonna research this and talk about it on our own. Like, in which locations or environment does this happen? Because what you are saying, in my mind, like, make a sense of Elalini, maybe you won't see much of that because they've got all these duties to do, you know. But in the city, it's different. And I want to hear your view here, actually, while we're still on that. There's a book I'm reading. It's titled Wild at Heart. Yeah, I'm very sold out to the idea of the book. The book says, like, the reason men are feeling so miserable today is because we have taken all the hard things that they desperately needed for their sanity. You now want to raise your son soft. You want to protect them from the things. You know, if you have a child, a son that start running, you just want to be there. I hope it doesn't fall. If you just see a scratch, you are extremely worried. Like, you don't give them chance to be wild. You know, so the books talk about that. Like, men are naturally desperate for adventurous activities. So what do you think about that?
Coming from the background that I'm coming from, I see men being raised like that a lot, and I'm having a hard time in Bloemfontein. A 29-year-old would come with their mother to casualties.
Yeah, we are weak.
You know, like, and he's not gonna say, I'm asking you, what is your chronic illness? The mother is answering. Are you allergic to anything? The mother is answering. I'm coming from a rural area whereby, like, maguti kwasha ngaphandle kuthiwa mfana home
akushiwo nokushiwo
kuthiwa mfana even in 2 years now uyalandela akazi ukuthi
so true
because kuthiwa mfana hamba obheka ngaphandle ukuthi kwenzakalani manje ukhala kanje hey baby
bizuphakela umthakathi. And you see,
guys, I'm
Bloemfontein will come to you.
No, like, actually, I'm so sorry,
it's
guys.
not Bloemfontein only, even in out there.
No, like, when
suburbs
you come from when you come from a rural area, it's a shock. It was a cultural shock for me. For boys to be babysitted like that, because in KZN, umfana, you understand that, like, you must know ukuthi umfana angizukulibiza lela gama, you understand, yaphuba umthakathi anifuna khona, unifuna ngani, yabona unifuna lapho. So abafana, you know that you are a boy for indoda, and if you are like in a family where, like, maybe you are like a last born but umfana, so you know your role, that this osis bam, whether he's 30 or what, I must look after these ones. I'm in charge.
To
understand, to protect.
And that's the part that I'm envious about when it comes to, like, what I see right now, Phakela umthakathi going to these cities and, like, we're not gonna that's like something that I envy. I'm like, this is like true men, like, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, outside ukuthi bazokudubula or something. You understand?
Intelezi ayikhodzwa, insizi le bayifaka la.
Yini?
Insizi.
Intelezi.
Intelezi lento bechela ngayo, bathela ngayo. Le insizi biza kuthiwa.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. I want to ask you this question. I mean, in your practice and even when you were doing your practicals as a student, what's one moment that you won't forget in this journey of becoming a nurse? Maybe something happened and you're like, oh my God, I'm not believing what's happening right now. Or maybe you had this patient that you're dealing with, even if you in fact, you don't have to disclose for confidentiality
Mhm.
reasons, of course. But tell me about this situation that like took your breath away, that happened as you in this journey of becoming a nurse.
Yo, there's quite a lot.
Yeah, let's talk
There's
about
quite
the
a
one
lot.
moment.
For me, like I'll just generalize, like the kids. I don't do well with kids. I think any nurse, they don't do well with kids. If you are I'm a trauma nurse, I'm a casualty nurse. When you receive an unresponsive kid, yes, you resuscitate. As a mother, it hits home. After doctor declared you need debriefing after that, definitely. Because you resuscitate a 2-year-old. I have a 2-year-old. Like by the time you are giving those compressions, you giving it your all. I feel like the resus of a child is different than the adult, because we become more invested. We're seeing a future. We don't know this child maybe is the next president, is the next. We understand.
It's the next podcast.
You is a next. You understand the nestpreneur. You understand. You understand. So yeah, it hits home for me. Like I don't do well with kids. I don't. I wouldn't
Have
say.
you ever had such?
Yeah, in 8 incident, I was the one who received those kids.
Yeah. And you tried your best.
We did everything. Like it was the first time I see even specialists. No, everyone was crying. Everyone was crying. Even the specialist, even the strongest specialist that you know, like you always like tough. Everyone was crying. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. And as a nurse, you see a lot of nurses being diagnosed with depression because we deal with such things.
Is that why you guys are so aggressive at hospitals?
Hi, boo.
It depends.
Put STI glitter.
Public.
Guys, I refuse. Okay, maybe I've been in a private sector for so long.
There are a lot of factors. Maybe they are understaffed. Resources are not enough or adequate. Yeah, we went off here anyway.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
While you're still there,
let's talk about business. Actually.
Yeah.
What services are you offering in Hope Clinic? How is business?
The business is growing. It's slow as I expected. I remember this is not the first business that I started. I was before this. I was selling hair full time.
Okay.
Of which it helped me a lot to navigate the business. Since I'm a nurse, in nursing school, you're not taught about business,
how to sell,
how to run a business. You understand? Like I didn't even know what is revenue. I had to go and read about it. You understand? So it was like quite challenging to start something big as a practice. Yeah. I had to learn a lot about accounting, the budget of the clinic and whatnot. But it's going. What helps a lot is collaborations.
Okay.
Yeah, I collaborate with a lot of specialists, and of which comes to a point where you guys that I didn't want to talk about, that are rudenesses. When you work well with people, for me it goes well because specialists have been doing nursing for over 10 years. So the specialist loves me, like they know like Sister Thembi, especially the wounds, they know she's going to kill it. Like I'm going to take this. I remember the first time I went to this one specialist and the other one saw me there and was like, yeah, but then it's me who said I'm gonna work with Sister Thembi. They started
They were
fighting.
fighting over you.
They started fighting. I'm like, look at these ones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come to you on Thursday. I'm gonna come to you on Wednesday. It's fine. Everyone wins.
Yeah.
So like to nurses that are planning to start their practices, like if you are still in a hospital, work well with the specialists because those are the people that you're gonna collaborate with. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So how many employees have you got now?
I just have one.
For now.
For now,
Okay.
I have one. I have a receptionist.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. People will support you. Hope Clinic,
Yes.
situated in Universitas in
Universitas.
Bloemfontein. Great service. You get good value for your money.
Do you do IV drips?
I'm planning to add one. I just wanted to start now. I'm going for a course in Johannesburg in July. I like to get myself empowered since I'm dealing with people's life. I do put up drips every day. I think I put about like 20 drips in one day. But drips, the one that are trending, the one that we are doing, like libido and whatnot, you need to know the combinations that are there and what are the contraindications. You cannot give it to someone maybe who got kidney failure or whatnot. You know, like I have to go for a course for that. So it's something that is on the pipeline.
Because I took one, right? To lose weight. That's why I'm like this.
Oh, wow.
There he goes again. Big
My
Instead
next
of-
client.
Instead of lifting weights and go for shortcuts.
Shortcuts though.
Amadoda selwele cheap.
Look, Temi, I had my time to do that, honestly. Temi, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think you are setting a tone. I think as a community, we don't have a choice but to be proud of you. I mean, in the midst of so much unemployment, you just and I want to say this, Bijo. Have you noticed like the people that create their side jobs or like other jobs are people that have jobs most of the time? I've noticed that, and I've always like
that's the case. Yeah. When did the entrepreneurial bug bite you?
It was 2024. I saw this one nurse. Kimakomani. I hope she sees this video. She's a midwife. Yeah, I don't know where she's from, but she's in Joburg. She started her mobile clinic. She's a midwife. She travels to people, and if you want to give birth in your own home, she comes and help you. Beautiful. I'm like, how nurses can do this, you know? Then I started being more invested. Then I started attending the events that talk about how to open your own clinic and whatnot. Yeah, that's
seminars.
Seminars, yes. That's where the spark comes from. And again, with wounds, like my clinic, I want to be big on wounds simply because my grandmother suffered a very severe bed sore. And I saw her suffering from it, for such a long time. And most nurses, they don't like to deal with wounds simply because it's smelly and it's not nice to look at it. It's nice, pleasant to look at it, But for me, it's different. When I see a wound, I saw my diagnosis, I saw my want to dress it and treat it. You understand? I know exactly by looking at the wound, I know exactly what that wound needs.
Sure.
Yeah.
How was it dealing with your grandma's wound?
It was very, very it was painful in such a point where like I wish she can die. Because
how bad was it?
It was bad. It was a bad sore that started having maggots.
In the markets.
Yeah. So it was that bad, and I saw it the way it started, but I didn't know it was a bad sore. And they come with that purple thing that they put on the wounds. Like, what is it? What is it? Spirit. Yeah. Then we keep on putting that thing, and my grandmother, like, she was like,
why are you doing your face like that? Do you have a wound experience?
Too graphic for my liking.
Okay. Sorry. So it was bad. It was very, very, very horrible. There was a time where I prayed for her departure. Because the pain was unbearable.
So you couldn't help that?
I couldn't help it. I was a 16-year-old staying with my grandmother, and the very same kids that left the same day is the very same kids that they were not there. Like being a 16-year-old taking care of your grandmother, you call the ambulance will never come. That's how far our rural area was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. On that note, let's empower ourselves and take these professions of ours and into businesses. I love it when one starts from being an employer and to be an entrepreneur, and then And I love your advice, Uguti. You must start while you are still working and build those relationships.
Yeah. Being rude is not gonna take you anywhere. Yeah. There are very rude people out there, not just only nurses, but in general. Yeah.
And what services do you offer in your business?
I offer like primary healthcare. I do STIs in the location where I am. I see a lot of STIs. I see a lot of PrEP people who want after exposure. Yes. Then I also see contraceptives, people who are looking for whether it's Depo, Naristrate, or an emergency tablet after having a wild night. Yeah. I also do the wounds. I do pregnant ladies, antenatal, postnatal, and immunizations. I just hope government can supply me, but I did apply. I hope I get to a supply chain whereby you are given immunizations for free, then they just pay for the service, then it's become cheaper.
I hope with you there. Anything around abortion?
I just refer the abortion. I work with Sister Katleho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I refer to her or a specialist.
Hello, Sister Katli.
Hi, Sister Katli. Yes, so I refer to her because I trust her. She has a a very a huge experience when it comes to termination, safe termination, because there's a backstreet abortion, of which it becomes septic and the child can die after that, So it's very important that we refer to a very good and reliable people when we refer. Personally, I don't terminate.
Okay, I hear you. Anything, Makavili?
No, from my side, Siswam Kubege will be inspiration to the youth out there, and hopefully this message or this video, this YouTube gets to someone who's maybe going through what you went through, and they see that it is possible. There's nothing new here. Maybe it's just maybe their path maybe was destined ukuthi idlule lapho, even though it's not pleasant, it's not nice. Then there are people who went through what they are going through now, but here they are. We are a good testament of that, and through your experiences with Ugogo, you became this professional nurse who's an expert on wounds, and because of your traumatic experiences, so you turn that into a positive thing for helping others as well. So in her legacy, you will help a lot of people, a lot of patients out there banging into your practice with those wounds and scars and whatnot, but they come out healed physically and psychologically. And I like that combination actually, because when you treat a wound, you're only treating a wound. Some people just treat the physical wound, but there's also a story behind that that wound.
In the psychology.
And psychology, exactly. So you would refer them maybe to a professional who would be like, hey, go see this person now that the physical part is being fixed or it's sorted. So I like what you are doing, and
she's amazing.
Keep on doing what you are doing, and wish you all the best. And the nice part about it, angangikuze ukhuluma ngemali. Charge money and whatnot, which is a nice thing.
Shows passion.
You are passionate. You are doing what you are passionate about. Imali is an end result. So everyone is chasing money. We're not saying people should not price their services. But if you are passionate about something, then you will be remunerated later on. Those are my parting words.
Oh, thank you, Makavili. Thank you so much, my brother.
And lastly but not least, you are a good family woman.
Thank you.
We can hear from this.
Yeah.
We as
you.
Black people, we need good family structures.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes,
so
You inspire me to go and
nice.
marry KZN.
Sorry?
Carry on.
Dr.
Carry on.
Wilson.
You'll watch the show.
But yeah, family, everything starts in the family.
Yeah.
Good health, good wealth, everything. If we can have solid families and stop this thing of making babies,